Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. Brandon again. Wanted to do a video here on these Titan roller cups, which just came in the other day. I posted these on my Instagram, and as a connoisseur of the roller cup, I thought it was my duty to get these and give you some feedback on them for a couple of reasons. Number one, a connoisseur. So I have these custom ones that I've done a video on. We linked in the description box below. I have the Go Strong ones, which I've done a video on. We linked in the description box below. You may recall I had several of my own made as I was looking into maybe bringing these out for quite some time a couple years ago. So I've had my hand in it for a while, and for the most part, these have been largely either unaffordable for people or unavailable. I say that because these Go Strong ones, while they're nice, there's definitely some quirks that need to be worked out. These retail for over $300. Even this custom one that I got done by Connor Hobson, which again, talk about in the video review on them, probably cost about $250. The ones that I had probably cost me anywhere from $150 to $200 depending on how nice they were. So number one, it's been very expensive for people. This one here retails for around $60. And they've also been largely unavailable because number one, not a lot of people want to pay that, but also some of the other more affordable ones like the Bells of Steel ones just tend to not fit everyone's racks unless you have a Bells of Steel rack. Some of their racks are like 2.3 by 2.3, so it doesn't really fit something. This one here right here is from Titan's Titan series, which is basically their 1-inch hardware racks, and it fits great on my Rogue Monster 3. They also have some other versions which would fit very similar to a Monster Lite, or even maybe, I think the Infinity line, they have some other offerings. I will link the Titan versions in the description box below as well. But again, these things retail for $60 some and fit a lot of more common rack sizes for the most part. I say that because on the back, they have this little twist pin, which screws in. So there it is installed. Not installed, you can see right here, the J cup is threaded. Comes with this, I guess you could call it a cute little knob. Most people don't want to hear that they have a cute little knob. They're used to bigger, heftier things. And to be honest, from the pictures on the product page, I didn't expect it to look like this. I thought it would be a little bit longer. The girth is definitely there, but definitely thought it would be longer. And I didn't think it would be a screw in. But one of the things that I've run into from talking to a lot of people is the fact on the ones that are supposed to fit the Rogue Monster Lite series, the back hold does not line up really well. And a lot of times these pins aren't usable. And that's actually not that surprising, only because if you remember, I did a Titan monolift review for my Rogue Monster Lite where I adapted the Titan monolift adjustable ones to my Monster Lite rack. And the back pin there did not line up either. So they have not yet fixed that in their cloning services. So just know if you're looking at this for a Monster Lite system, you probably can't use this particular one. I wouldn't say that's a really deal breaker for me, only because you could probably find a little bit of a smaller pin to use, even if it's like a band peg. Or to be honest, when you take a look at some of these other ones, like the custom ones I have from Connor, or the ones from Ghost, you'll notice that it doesn't have any securing pin. Now, personally speaking, I like the securing pin. That's some of the things I found on my design, because with these other J cups, even though they work extremely well, let's see if I can do this with one hand, you can still swing them out depending on how heavy the weights get. So one of mine on Connor's tends to swing in a little bit on heavier weight, especially when I'm using my safety squat bar. The Go Strong ones, number one, for the old version, they don't have a flush fit, so there's a little bit of what I would call play or slop in this, and these come out much more easily than the other ones, especially because there's no UHMW on the inside of the Ghost ones, which I'll show you right here, whereas the ones with Connor have it in 3 spaces, which makes it super secure, and the Titan ones only have it on one side, which is a little bit weird. So again, if you're buying this, for this series, and I think the lower end series of this too, the ones for the Monster Lite, and even the other one, which is like 2x2 or 2x3, I believe it still has this regardless, whereas for Rogue, you only get the padding on the inside for the Monster series stuff. Does not have it on the back end. I would have liked to seen that, number one. It would have made the fit a little bit better, but also I think it's just gonna protect the rack a little bit more. But long story short, if you're getting one outside of the one with 1-inch hardware, you may find that back pin does not fit. I'll send some pictures of that. Now, one of the other things I will say, because a lot of people that I've talked to who saw these because I posted them on Instagram, which is cool that you guys followed up with me because I asked to give me your feedback on it. A lot of people have noted that not both of the rollers work. So this one you can see roller spins fine and freely, actually pretty well in my case. On the second one over here, same deal, spins really well. But literally from the dozen or so people I've heard from regarding this that they've bought from, one of the rollers is stuck. So it's like too tight, or the roller's not cut short enough. So they've had to undo this screw right here and actually cut it or grind it down for it to spin freely. You could probably reach out to Titan and get it replaced. Knowing them, they'd probably send you a pair of new ones. But just be aware that if you're ordering these, there is a high likelihood, about a 50% chance, one of your rollers will not work without a little bit of extra work on your end, which I think is pretty common of Titan. But on the backside of that, you're paying $60 to $65 with free shipping on these things. So I think that's the trade-off that a lot of people should just come to expect with Titan. It comes at a cost, not a monetary cost because they're cheaper, but a cost as in it's a gamble if you're going to get a good version or not. Now, speaking of this, another reason I have them all lined up, I want to show you just how they compare, because when I first ordered this, one of my first concerns, at least what I thought would be a concern, is the size of the lip on this, because as you can tell, it has a big old lip. This is like a Bubba Gump lip, if you will. It sticks out pretty far, and I was like, this is definitely going to be a problem, which is going to cause a couple of other issues, but it's definitely bigger than you can see right here than the custom one Connor did. If I go like this a little bit more, it's actually not that much bigger than the Ghost one. The Ghost one's a very hefty J-cup. Those things are really heavy duty. I also have, let's see if I can get back a little bit further and not trip over this GHD. Comparing it, maybe you can even get all four of these in the shot. Let's see. All four of these in the shot. It's actually very comparable to that Sandwich J-cup. And not a lot of people like how big this thing is. They think it juts out a lot. Personally, I actually really like this J-cup. I use it a lot for a lot of my benching movements. But size-wise, in terms of where the lip is and how deep the cup is, it's actually very comparable to this. I think this just looks a little bit bigger because it doesn't have that whole bottom space like the other one has. My main concern with this, however, though, is even though this size is pretty large, comparatively speaking, the fact of the matter is, at least with this Sandwich J cup, if you're going to bang the bottom of this cup, especially on bench, I have that problem occasionally where I bang the bar against the J cup because it's so big, is the fact that the UHMW on this runs all along the bottom. So you're completely protected anywhere potentially. You're never going to really hit metal with this cup. When you take a look at this one, you don't have any of that on the bottom. And you have that screw up top, which is actually kind of sharp, has that sharp, hard edge. So I do worry that using this, if you hit your bar against it, you could very easily damage the knurling. It's not like, for instance, on Connor's cup, this is all UHMW in the front and kind of right here on the lip too. So unless you hit this bottom part, which you're not very likely to do just because given how short it is, your bar is going to be protected. It also has protection up here on the top lip. I do like how they have this plastic right here. So again, that's good protection. The Ghost one, it does have a screw that sticks out slightly, but only a little bit. So not a huge issue. And then again, I've already talked about that. So that is my main concern with this. But otherwise, like I said, I'm very impressed with this cup so far. Just to give you an idea, I kind of talked about all these things already. You can see the inside, how they compare. But first impressions are really good. And even though there are some potential hazards with this, number one, being the fact that that pin might not line up depending on which version you get. Also, as I already stated, one of your rollers might not actually roll. And there is the potential to damage a bar with that. I don't know why they didn't go with more of a flush screw like you see right here, or even like something that's a little bit more rounded like right here. I think for all the potential risks of this cup, the fact that it costs $60 some and can be readily adapted to many common size racks, I think it's worth taking a flyer on. Obviously, I'll give you guys a more thorough review and update once I've used it a little bit more, especially how these things hold up. I will say, don't expect these to last forever in terms of the rollers. You can see right here, this one's hard to see because it's a white nylon on the inside, but that is definitely wearing. You take a look at the Ghost Strong one, you can see that's wearing as well. But even when you take a look at my J cup here, you can actually see exactly where I kind of turn the bar into as I'm getting ready to bench. So These things aren't going to last forever, but the good thing is they're easily replaceable. You just take the screw out, pop a new one in. They still should last you a good amount of time, especially if you're training at home. This is going into a commercial environment. You're probably going to have to replace them more often. But again, for 60 some bucks, I think it's worth taking a flyer on, especially if you've been interested in trying roll cups. I find these are a game changer for heavy squats, especially resetting the bar, especially with this fact that these are secured to your rack, so the cup's not going to swing at all. I will link these in the description box below if you're interested. And if I didn't answer any of your questions, make sure you leave it in the comment section below, and I'll get to those and try to hit those in my review when I finally do that as well. So in the meantime, as always, thanks for watching and stay big.